What up, everybody? It's iPad beatmaking.com here today on Sunday, June 6, 2021, giving you a Wwdc prediction special edition of some news you can use. Now, yesterday's special episode of the news was epic. It was so cool to take y'all's comments and turn them into an entire episode of the news. And that's something I think I'm going to do way more often, maybe even weekly if we get those comments coming in the same way. Y'all are super clutch, and as a community, I know we're tiny but we're mighty, and the comment section is active. Very relevant conversations go on in the comment section. Questions are answered, answers are questioned. What more can I say? The comment section is lit. If you want your comments to help shape the news episodes and even be mentioned in the news special like yesterday's, be sure to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Alright, let's get to these predictions. Some of these are going to be standard predictions that everyone's already got everywhere, that have been predicted for days, weeks, or months. And other ones are going to be way out there. We're going to take a swing for the fences. So I'm going to make some predictions that if wrong, you can laugh at my expense. But if I'm right, maybe you'll hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss out on the latest news, tips, tricks, sales, beats, reviews, updates, and more. And you know what? I'll take those odds. Alright, let's go. Now, first off, I predict the MacBook Pro with the M1X chip with 64 gigs of RAM is going to be announced. I also think it'll feature MagSafe, and overall I think this will happen either now or later in the summer, but with the iPhones typically coming in the mid to late summer, I think now is when we're going to get it. And let me say, this MacBook Pro that is being reported through the rumors sounds incredible. This sounds like something we've never seen a MacBook Pro have before. It really is a Mac Pro type of experience is what it sounds like it's gonna offer. And I'm a little torn about this prediction, honestly, because the M1 iMac was just announced and the M1 MacBooks before that, as well as the Mac Minis, and it would seem to me that they would want to keep those sales going for as long as possible, with those being the best options in the M1 world right now. But playing the middle is not allowed in this episode. So I predict a new MacBook Pro is going to be at WWDC with the M1X chip. Final answer. Now, next up, I'm hearing rumors of a VR headset. Maybe, maybe not. Honestly, really don't care. Would like to see the technology get a little bit more advanced and be a little bit more useful and practical for my daily life before I jump into the VR headset space. But they are pretty cool the times that I have tried them. Definitely fun to play video games, etc., etc. But with that said, I predict there will be a VR headset that's geared more toward developers right now. Final answer. Now, iOS 15 is something that we don't know much about, except for those updates are expected for Safari, Health, Maps, and iMessage. And that's all good and well, but what I would really like for Apple to do for iOS 15 is to make it so that the AEV3 stop disappearing, which is a crazy bug that is currently plaguing iOS 14 users, including us. And I really hope they button down that issue, and hopefully we get more memory usage for our apps in iOS 15 for those of us who own the higher end iPads. I'll be honest, this isn't specifically for WWDC, but I predict that iOS 15 will still have bugs and glitches for AEV3s, but we'll get some limits lifted on RAM usage, and that is my final answer. Now, I think we'll be getting some AirPods 3 or the new Power Beats or both. Now, it's been a long time since the last version of the AirPods was released, so with spatial audio also being an event going on right after WWDC's keynote on Monday, June 7th, I'm thinking now would be a great time to announce a new AirPod. I heard the AirPods Pro is going to be pushed back to the end of the year or next year, so I'm going to predict that we're going to get AirPods 3 or Power Beats or both, but I'm really leaning towards AirPods 3, so we'll see how that goes. Alright, so I predict we're getting AirPods 3, final answer. And I predict that LumaFusion is going to get an epic update, which is going to allow for multicam and a lot more stuff. Once again, as I said in this previous video here, this information is accessible easily online. It's not like I'm predicting something unknown. However, the plot twist comes in terms of Final Cut Pro making it to the iPad. It seems like Apple really likes LumaFusion. They've shown them in a lot of different presentations, and I'm a little confused as to if Apple will actually drop Final Cut Pro, which could quite literally kill LumaFusion if it's done in a pro format. And that's a scary thought, as I really like LumaFusion and I want to see LumaFusion continue to grow, but I also want to see Final Cut on an iPad, of course. So maybe it'll be like a Premiere and a Final Cut is on a desktop where people have both. They really don't affect each other's ecosystems too much. Maybe that's what's gonna happen, but they've been investing in cameras, 10-bit, Dolby. I mean, the list goes on and on. These iDevices have gotten so close to some of the cinematic cameras that are available in terms of specs, codecs, etc., that I'm gonna have to predict that we do get Final Cut Pro. Final answer, there's no way they've put all this processing into the iPad, M1, GPUs, RAM, and they're not giving us Final Cut Pro. So once again, final answer. And I have a question for developers or those who are in the know. If your app works on an M1 Mac, does it automatically work on an iPad? Or is it like it used to be prior to the M1 where you have to kind of rebuild these apps from scratch? Because I'm starting to wonder, when are the pro level DAWs going to come to the M1 iPad? If the apps can simply just be optimized or you just check the box and they come over, what's holding them back from coming to the M1 iPad? And will we see more of them at WWDC? Anyways, long-winded question, but if you know the answer, let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear some of your perspective. And it probably goes without saying that I predict something else in the photo video space. Every single event has something dedicated to that, so I'm predicting a photo editing app or something like that is going to be featured either from Apple, probably not Apple, probably a third party like Adobe or something, or it'll be an app update that significantly changes or improves something. And that's my final answer. Now, longtime commenter to the channel, Emil, has hit several predictions squarely on the head, so I'm gonna rock out with him when he says that Logic Pro is coming to the iPad. His comment said the following: "My source can't give me a release date regarding Logic Pro X for the iPad. The person also won't say to me if it will be announced at WWDC this month or at another event. What I've told is the only info this person could give. So Logic Pro is coming, but the release date couldn't be given to me. Probably has to do with the position/function this person is currently in. It's very likely to release this year if you ask me. I don't know if the iPad Air 4 will be supported. I can ask this person if it will become available for the latest Air. I'll keep you informed." So as you can see, he said he's not sure if it's going to be available for WWDC or a little bit later, but as I sit here and I think about this, the iPhone, we know it's going to be coming late summer, midsummer, something like that. And I also think that Apple is about done with the Pro line of the iPads for this year, so I can't think of a better time to make this kind of announcement if it's going to make it to the iPad at all. So I'm gonna double down on the Logic Pro rumor. I predict Logic Pro will be announced at WWDC. Final answer. And Apple, you better not mess this up, as I have it on good authority down in the comment section. The folks are gonna take their M1 iPads back if they do not get a Logic Pro announcement at this event. You don't want this kind of mutiny on your hands. Just give the people what they want. Give us Logic Pro. It's simple. So I predict that if we don't get Logic Pro or Final Cut Pro or both on the M1 iPad Pro at WWDC, you guys are gonna have a lot of M1 iPad returns. When I really think about the fact that for this fully souped up model, you want $2,400, the thought of you not giving us Pro apps for that is just absurd. So I'm not even gonna entertain the thought. So final answer to the final answer to the final answer, y'all are giving us these Pro apps. And finally, Emil says this about Arturia. Don't worry about Arturia, they didn't ditch us. And another commenter as well have said it just seems really weird that they would just abandon iOS. Personally, I think Arturia just ran away from home for the weekend. I think they wanted to go out, have some freedom, see what life is like in these streets a little bit. But I think for WWDC, which is a family event, it's a family reunion, they're gonna make it back home. So I predict we're getting Arturia V Collection at WWDC. And if not at WWDC, then in the very near future, because I don't know if Apple is going to feature Arturia. They're big enough to feature them, but I don't know if they're gonna feature them, so I think it's gonna correlate somehow, some way to this event. So I predict we're getting the V Collection or something like it from Arturia. Final answer. And now I have absolutely no evidence whatsoever to back up this prediction, but it is a bonus and I'm just gonna put it out there because I feel like it should happen. I'm thinking we'll get Ableton in some form on the iPad sometime this year to early next year. I could be totally wrong, and I have zero evidence to substantiate this claim. It's just a gut thing that's something I'm thinking may happen. And with that said, we're about to get out of here. What do you think of our predictions? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let us know in the comment section down below. We hope you enjoyed this WWDC prediction special of the news, and if you did, please be sure to hit the like button as well as the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss out on the latest news, tips, tricks, sales, beats, reviews, updates, and more. And be sure to check out some of the best kits available for iOS at iPadbeatmaking.com. It's iPadbeatmaking.com. Peace.